So today's event is really telling stories. Our storytellers are Dr. Kenneth Tom and also Melody OuYoung. And they have been in the field for quite a long time, and we're interested in hearing their experience. And also, we hope that we have a lot of young professionals and new professionals joining us today who we can dialogue with them and see how we can support them. And then today's speakers are Melody OuYoung, who is a speech manager at Medical Center, which is part of the University of Southern California Hospital System, and also Dr. Kenneth Tom, who's an associate professor in Communicative Disorders in Fullerton, Cal State Fullerton. So Melody is the manager for the speech pathology department at University of Southern California in the University Hospital, Keck Medical Center. And she has more than 25, maybe even, well, she can tell us that. I know for sure she has more than 25 years of experience, but I suspect that it's maybe even more, of treating both children and adult patients. And Melody started the Voice and Swallowing program, started several voice and swallowing programs at the USC University Hospital. And she's conducted workshops in US, in China, and Taiwan, and Hong Kong. She has published 4 books. She has published 4 books in speech language pathology in Chinese. She was born in Taiwan, and she holds a master's degree in speech-language pathology from Southern Illinois University at Carbondale in Communicative Disorders and Sciences, and also a master's degree from South Belo University of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. So welcome, Melody. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you clearly.
Wonderful. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we could see Melody better. Uh-huh. And Melody, I would like to know, when did you start in speech language pathology, and why did you get into the field?
I don't want to say that because that reveals my age.
Okay, you don't have to answer any questions. You don't have to.
That's okay. I came to this country in 1981, so it's already 33 years already. I came here with the hope that I will learn the teaching English as a second language, so I can go back to Taiwan to teach. But something happened during my studies at SIU is because I failed the course in linguistics. So that really made me think, because I was pretty good in Taiwan, always number 1, number 2 in the class. But I came to SIU, then I failed the class. Actually, it's the C, the course C. That's the first C in my life. It's really very dramatic to me, and I'm very heartbroken. So that really forced me to think about, maybe I was not good in linguistics. Then that's the reason I started searching for the right field to study. Then finally, I found the speech language, communication disorders. Now I just dropped the linguistic courses, then and shift my major to communication disorders. But that was very hard because I was in English literature. Now suddenly changed to the medical field was very difficult. So it's a long story. But finally, yeah.
How did you find speech-language pathology when you started looking around for a new degree? How did you find that particular one?
I talk to, I think this is my personality. Whenever I have a problem, I want to share my problem with other people. I ask people's professional guidance. Then there was one of the students, PhD students in Carbondale. He mentioned that, do you like children? I said, yeah, I always, I'm always a leader, children's leader. I can play with them. I really participate them, interact with them very well. Then he mentioned about this communication disorders. And I say, then maybe it's a special education because my mother is a teacher. So I say, maybe, education is good. But he said, no, it's more than education. It's, involving with a lot of different fields. So he suggested me to talk to the chairperson in Carbondale. So I did. Then finally, I went to have a meeting with my chairperson. Then he kind of persuaded me and said, oh, this is very good. And I said, well, what is good about it? I did not know anything about communication disorders. So he suggests me to talk to Dr. Barry Prezan. Barry Prezan is very famous in autism. And
Absolutely.
he just happened to be at the campus. So I went to talk to him, and I was so floored by him. I was so inspired by him because he is such a good teacher and professor and mentor. And he said, if you want to do with this field, number one, you have to have a full of passion. You want to be eager to help people. That's number one. Number two is you have to really have a really good problem-solving skills, to be observant and try to analyzing the kids' behavior and come up with solutions. If you are good, then you will be like an artist. You walk into the room, know all the knowledge, and interact with your clients, and boom, boom, boom. Then you already identify the areas of problems, and then you can design the treatment plan for them.
So when you heard that, did you think, yeah, that sounds like me. That sounds like a good fit?
Yeah, because I want to be, number one, independent. I want to be able to design my own treatment plan. I don't want other people to tell me what to do. I want to come up with solutions. And also this field, I love children to start with. So I said, I can manage it. That's brought me into this field.
So, even now, when I, talk with my family about my profession, they don't know too much about it. It's, in a lot of Chinese community, people don't know about this field. So I imagine when you started, probably even fewer people knew about the field. So, how did it feel to be an Asian professional in speech language pathology at that time?
Oh, it was very difficult because number one, when you came to the new country, you face a lot of challenges. Number one is language. Even though my major was English literature, my English was still not good enough at that time. Okay, number one. Number two is be able to verbalize your needs, to present yourself. And I found out long term, this is so critical for us to be successful in United States. And number three is also overcome the cultural differences. Because, especially, I'm a woman. Women usually you should not be heard, right? You should be silent. You should just be quiet. Okay. But here, if you are be quiet, a lot of things happen. You don't verbalize your needs or present yourself very well. People think that you are nobody. You don't have any opinion. I still remember when I started on my clinical fellowship year, I was so quiet because I want to learn a lot of clinical skills. A lot of things happened to me at the same time. So I was not in the position to argue or try to fight for my rights. I just follow whatever they assign the works to me. Actually, they always give me the very challenging cases. Nobody wants to take those challenging cases like autism, okay? Autism with a behavior problem, kicking, spitting, okay? Pinch me or kick me. All those things I never knew how to handle it. Now I have to really try to find out the solutions. So I know the ways, and of course ask for my supervisor guidance. And that's how I challenge myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you had support? I mean, it really sounds like you had so much to overcome, getting used to, being away from your native country, working and studying in a new language, working with difficult cases, as you say, even switching your majors, switching your concentration. So what helped you? What are the supports that you turn to?
I think the most important thing is I become who I am right now. I really, number one, I have to thank my husband. I have a very good husband. He is always challenging me, supporting me to do my best. And I still remember one time I was laid off. I actually let go, the first time in my life, let go because they have a budget crisis. So they want to let one speech pathologist go. And who was the first one to go? Me. It's not the other person. Then it was a very difficult situation. Then I really think why they let me go instead of the other person. I was the person who saw the patient, provided direct care. Why I was the one to let go? Then I think I went back to talk to my husband. My husband said, it's best that you have to let your administrator know how much you can contribute to the whole team and indicating your own values. So you have to advocate for yourself, okay? So that's the reason at that time I learned how to stand on my feet to really to indicate who I am and how much I did for the whole company or the hospital, and try to persuade the administrator how valuable I was as a staff. But of course, it did not turn out to be good. I mean, they still let me go, but after letting me go for 1 week, the other person resigned. They had to get me back to work.
Oh, wow.
The whole thing is now I say, if you want me to come back, you need to promote me because I'm so valuable. So actually, I got a raise.
Wow, what an extraordinary story.
Yeah, it's very, 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 initially it's very scareful, very fearful, intimidating. I still remember one time when I was still in traumatic brain injury world, and the minority is very few people to go into the TBI population. I was one of them. Then one time I submitted my paper and I was scheduled to present in Boston Convention Center with my paper using the music to start the initiation for brain injury adults. That was my paper, oral presentation. So when I was walking into the presenting room, and people even stopped me. They say, why you are here? Because in the whole conferences, I don't see any Asian faces. I was the only one. Then they say, why you are here? I say, excuse me, why I'm not here? I'm the presenter. That's the reason everywhere I go, I have to really to be assertive, positive, and I educate people because they don't know. Mm-hmm. They don't know who you are. You educate who you are, what kind of things you are doing, how much valuable values you can contribute to the team. I think that's the important thing.
You mentioned something earlier. You said, culturally, the maybe what you were taught or what you were more used to at an earlier point in your life is to be maybe quieter and maybe more a different. You need to have a different energy than what you're talking about here. Really standing up, advocating, being more vocal. Mm-hmm. So how did you make that shift? What did you have to do, right?
Well, that was really, there's a transition period of time because I still remember when I tried so hard. Initially, I just do my work. I don't mind other person's gossip, those kind of things. I want to polish my skills, and I went to different conferences to learn, then integrating my into the practice. But eventually, I noticed that if I really don't speak for myself, nobody will. Then in order for me to speak well, I have to have really learned how to speak well, right? We were not trained, okay? So that's the reason I participate Toastmaster Club. I participate for the 8 years already. And I picked the club in the West Side, Santa Monica area, which is all West Side. And all the participants, all members is all distinguished Toastmaster. They have very polished skills, how to present themselves. So I learned over the years. Of course, it was also very difficult, how to use speak. And also they help you in terms of prepared speech and also impromptu speech, which is very, very important. If people ask you the question on the spot and you are not prepared, how do you think about it and present yourself well? And I think that skills has to be learned.
Wow. So you actually put yourself through formal training and practice.
Yes.
Wow. So what do you think, we know that being an Asian American in this field, especially in the time that you started, really makes you stand out. I wonder if you think there have been some rewards to being an Asian, somebody of Asian descent in speech language pathology.
Oh, there are huge rewards. If you go through the difficult time, right now I enjoy so much rewards from my work. Number one, I prove myself, because it's very important. It's not how other people look at yourself. It's how you look at yourself. That's an important thing. Number one, I prove to myself I have the potential. I can do my best to help people. And I think it's very blessed to be a speech pathologist, because we can serve so diverse population, from young children to adults, from an ICU baby to 99 years old. You name it. You can pick whatever you want. That's very, very important. Number two is once you have the skills, you can serve people. And I think that my best rewards is coming from my patients and family members, because it's not just money. I think money will come if you are good. That's my philosophy. If you are good in what you are doing, people will know about you. Money will come. So our focus is not just to make money. Our focus is to help people as much as you can do. So you try to improve your clinical skills so you can serve people much better. Then I can say that very proudly. If I touch the patient, all the patients and family members, their life are much better.
Yeah, you really feel that you can benefit them.
That's right. Yeah. And then right now I'm sharing my clinical skills to, I go to Taiwan, go to China to lecture all the times. And there's a huge need in both, I think, China and Taiwan. I want to pass my clinical skills to the next generation, because I cannot be here forever. But I learned a lot already. I always try to use a very pragmatic approach, try to serve the patients, so I can pass this torch, so to speak, to the young generations. So that's rewarding too.
Yeah. Well, here I'm going to insert a little bit, because I know Melody. I've worked with her at Garfield Medical Center, and she was in fact my supervisor. And I know that you have taken a lot of people under your wing. You've taken a lot of interns, a lot of CFs, clinical fellows, and also you do a lot of work in Taiwan. And, the books also that you're publishing in Chinese is going to benefit a lot of people. Yeah, so thank you for all of that. What do you think were the, now that you have the 30 years under your belt, what are the challenges that you think are most notable, right? And you talked about some of those.
The challenges is, for the API Caucus.
Right.
Okay. I think the challenge is number one is you have to be good with your both clinical skills and the verbal skills. And I think it's so important, because we call ourselves communication specialists. If you cannot even verbalize your needs very well, nobody can really, trust in you, because trust is very, very important. That's number one. Number two, also have to make yourself, your work to be known by other people. I don't know. I work with in the setting with PT, OT. They are all very good in promoting their work. But speech pathologists, we are really in the corner. And number one, we don't have so many people like a PT, OT, okay? But also we don't really advocate ourselves very well in the clinical settings. I want to make sure, say like USC, I went there 11 years ago, no program existing. But 11 years later, I have 12 people working with me. So why that happening? It's because I advocate for our field to let the administrators, that the doctors, referring doctors, if you trust in us, we will make you feel very good. Your patient's outcome will be much better, and you, after the surgery, the rehab of your patient will be wonderful. So make you also good.
Mm-hmm.
So they see the value. And also we cut down the cost in the hospital, try to reduce the aspiration pneumonia, improving patients' surgery outcome. Of course, it's much cheaper to hire speech pathologists than other people, right?
Do you think that being a minority in the field, almost you have to perform even better or communicate even better than other people?
Oh, yeah. I think we are all smart as a group. But it's very important, yeah. If in order to achieve whatever you can achieve, you really have to spend a lot of effort, hard work.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now looking at, very easy, but you know that behind that easiness is how many hours digging, researching, proving, polishing,
Mm-hmm.
all those hard works behind that.
Well, I was looking recently at the data for Asian and also Pacific Islander professionals in ASHA membership, and we are 2.6%.
Wow.
If we look at speech language pathology, it's a little less. I think it's 2.4, and audiology is closer to 2.6. In either case, we're very few. And also the data is not broken down further. So I don't know, what communities in the Asian Pacific Islander, many communities we have. It's very diverse. I'm not sure what the representation is. So anyway, there's still, even to this day, is a very small representation. So how do you think the profession can better support and maybe even recruit Asian Pacific Islander professionals, you think?
I think the number one is if they come over, Asian Pacific Islanders coming over to United States, number one, you really have to have a good command of your English. That's the first obstacle you have to overcome, okay? Both verbal and written language, because I think we suffer a lot, especially myself too. You have to really polish your skills. That's number one. Number two, we can stick together as a group, because support from each other is very, very important. You don't have to waste a lot of time. I've been here in this field already 33 years, so I've been through a lot. I can share the knowledges. I mean, bottom line is that we can support each other by attending the meetings. Maybe you can use this forum, try to have some in-service or whatever. The dialogue is very, very important, because when I started out, I'm by myself. Very, very few people I can talk to. It's a self-study, Even when I was in the graduate school, I even did not have dysphagia. We did not have dysphagia at that time. Okay, of course, I learned by myself, by going to different conferences. Also, very important thing is try to integrate the knowledge learn from the other disciplines, like OT and PT. We can learn so much from them. Don't isolate yourself in just speech words. Speech word is very limited. If you learn the skills from OT and PT, like the neural approach for brain injury patient or cerebral palsy patient, how to position patient for the feeding purposes, those are very important. Autistic children, you have to know about sensory integration. Okay, those are so important because they are all part of the learning process. If you cannot get into your client, how can you do your speech and language? They are so involved with their sensory issues, right? So if you have that knowledge, definitely will help you to try to improve the treatment outcome.
So some of the things I'm hearing you say is finding a community so you don't feel isolated. It sounds like even stretching yourself to be very competent, even outside of speech language pathology, to find that competence.
Because you have to look at a patient as a whole person, not just right now I'm treating a lot of voice patients. If I just say, you're just using the voice techniques, but most of the voice patients, they all have a psychological baggage, or there's some concern, there's stress in life. But if you don't deal with that component, I think Ken will be maybe pitching more. I noticed that only doing the voice therapy is not adequate. So there are a lot of, I think it's the whole thing to look at the person as the whole person, try to do the problem solving, identify their needs, not just what they cannot do, what they can do, because that's the entry level you can get into your client. Mm-hmm. And try to find a way, try to stimulate your clients, motivate them. Okay. Then if you don't have the knowledge, try to go out to look for workshop or seminars that can enhance your understanding about the problem. Mm-hmm. So it's constant problem solving, analyzing problem solving. Over the years, I think that, right now I can see any patient, talk to them, do a few things, and I know my little computer already can print it out, problems and solutions, what kind of things I can use. Mm-hmm.
And this will be the last question I ask you before we open up to other people who might want to talk to you directly is, do you have any advice for new people coming in, especially from Asian Pacific Islander background? Do you have any advice for new people? I think that before you come in, you have to prepare yourself, the language, comments of the language, that's number one. Number two is to be very persistent. I think all the work is to be persistent to whatever you are pursuing. And you have to tell yourself, build up your self-confidence. If we come across the ocean coming over here, we are already chosen people. I feel that. We are very already unique. We are not anybody else. We come over here, take the courage, leave our country, come over here. You are already very special, okay? Don't let other people tell you otherwise. You are very special. Then you focus on whatever you're learning, learn as much as possible, and also have a good interpersonal relationship with your peers or your graduate students. I can do so much because of my professors and my friends at the campus help me a lot. Help me. Then, of course, in return, you also treat them nicely. So it's an interchange of relationship and friendship. Then to be positive and also taking care of yourself too. If you're emotional not stable, you cannot overcome all those hurdles or obstacles. You need to do the exercises. You need to do the meditation. And try to have some fun in your life too. You cannot always work. You have to have some fun in your life. So balance. Then I think that whatever it comes to you, you can take it. I strongly believe that. That's wonderful advice, not just for the profession, for living life, I think. So, hi, Shirley.
Hello, my name is Shirley. I'm a speech pathologist in Boston. I'm on the East Coast in Massachusetts. Ms. OuYoung, you mentioned earlier that when you were at a TDI conference, you got the sort of negative reaction from a fellow speech pathologist asking, why are you here? So in the past 30 years, how have those reactions changed, and have they changed, or how have they evolved? I think right now I'm not I don't want to be bothered by those reactions anymore. I think I changed. Sometimes maybe they changed too, because I still remember when I was promoted to be the manager of the program, I went to ASHA for the manager of speech pathology program in the conference. And they also, I think a majority of the managers, they are all, they are very different from us. From me, okay? So when I went there, they also kind of say, they thought I was in the wrong room. But I handle this kind of things very, very politely. I say, excuse me, my name is so-and-so. I'm a manager of this program. So they just laugh and say, yeah, excuse me. I just walk into the room. And also very important, I think in order to present yourself and also really listen to the question, because we check when we're sitting around as all the managers, we always discuss our situations. I think I win their respect by really raising up good questions and also comments. So they know I mean business. Okay, so I think it's very, very important is how you present yourself and take this as an education. Educate other people about you, about where you come from, and respect them. So I think it's ongoing.
If anybody else would like to ask a question, please let us know let me know by the text box, or you also have this little button that says raise hands, I think, something like that. And then I can sort of bring the mic to you. Okay, we have a question. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Is it Pua? So my microphone is not working, so I'll type. What would you recommend for SLPs who are interested in practicing in China? What is needed and how do we best prepare?
China is a huge market. Actually, Tuesday, I'm flying to China. I'm flying to Shanghai, participating in the Fudan University, the medical center. They have a head and neck cancer unit. It's a 350 beds unit. I'm going to teach, share my knowledge with the nurses and the doctors over there, okay? Then afterwards, I'm going to Nanjing. So China is huge market. There's a great need for that. So in order for us to work there, I think it's a very important thing is you have to be good with whatever you are doing, because I think it's very important. We want to share the knowledge over there. They have a huge amount of needs, not only in terms of diagnostic testing, but also the therapy. So it's very important to do that. So if you want to know more information about it, you can also contact me, then I can get you into the group, okay?
Yeah, and if you need emails for our speakers or for me, I'll send up a follow-up email so we can connect with each other. I know that Dr. Henry Liu, who's on the line here, is, and in fact, he just wrote in a message. He says, I have something to share about formal teaching in China instead of going to conferences. So in our open discussion at the end, I hope to have some time to talk about that, and maybe also even set up another one of these online dialogues to hear about the projects going there. So I think, Melody, we'll transition, if that's okay, to talking with Kenneth, and then we'll open up again and meet back up as a group.